It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. I'll begin with the Punch newspaper. Planned attacks, police strategize, NSCDC warns as terrorists infiltrate South. Lagos CP area tactical commanders hold emergency meeting, call for vigilance. FRSC declares war on unregistered motorcycles. Arewa youth demand NSA's sacking. We'll move to the front page of this day newspaper. UK High Commissioner Atiku's ideas on security, economy, development interesting as PDP presidential candidate seeks increased collaboration with Britain. The Guardian now. Nigeria missing as BRICS moves to cut Western domination. Country on waiting list to join BRICS. All right, to the front page of the Daily Times now. Okowa, Baba Ahmed trade words over Obi. Obi, a neophyte, lacks experience to rule Nigeria, says Delta Governor. Okowa has no idea what capacity is. Obi most qualified for presidency. Baba Ahmed speaking. To the Daily Independent now. PDP BOT expresses concern over confusion in party. Wike Group gives conditions for reconciliation as calls for Iyorchia Ayu's resignation heightens. To the Nation newspaper now. Northwest, Southwest lead in voter registration. You have all the details when you look through the pages of the Nation newspaper. And to the Leadership newspaper now. PVC registration deadline as INEC registers 2.8 million in 1 month. Pressure mounts for extension. Commission insists on deadline, says law allow it. CSOs urge electoral body to review position, says millions will be disenfranchised. 80% of new registrants are youth. Institute. Mike?
All right. We have continuing from there. This Nigeria is next, and it says ASUU, Buhari's deadline flops as varsity teachers extend strike by another 4 weeks. All right, this is really troubling as it is, and it has always been. Blueprint newspaper is next, and it says anxiety as ASUU extends strike by 4 weeks. Federal government tasking our patients with non-signing of Briggs Committee's 2009 agreement, and asks NIDA to release result of latest test on UTAS. All right, that's what the Blueprint newspaper has. And the First News, on the other hand, is adding a voice to this, saying that resident doctors threaten to down tools as ASUU extends strike. And NAD, that's the resident doctors, warns of nationwide strike after 14-day ultimatum, urges federal government to implement new national minimum wage, pay 7 months hazard allowances owed doctors. We're not done yet, says ASUU. Okay, that's what the First News has. Moving on to the Nigerian News Direct. Now, on the other hand, it says a minister kicks against 12.5% tax on calls and data. All right, this has been contentious since the Nigerians and creating debate since Nigerians heard this. Minister kicks against 12.5% tax on calls and data. National Economy is next, and it says subscribers to sue federal government over imposition of 5% tax on calls. That is what the National Economy has. Business Day is next. It says how Nigeria can fix forex crisis and tame inflation. All right, this is what Business Day has. From there, let's go to Daily Trust, which is the last one we're looking at now. Dollar remittance. Presidency wades into CBN NNPC feud. We remitted over $2 billion to our account with Apex Bank. Oil firm is saying this. How CBN augmented NNPC's $1.6 billion remittance for oil imports. That is what Daily Times has here.
All right. Before we round up on the papers, we have
Daily Trust. Sorry, Daily Trust. Thank you.
Right.
Thank
to
you,
the
Daily
Saudi
Trust.
Gazette, no hiring of workers with criminal record. no deduction of recruitment fee from salary. You find the details on the pages of the Saudi Gazette. And finally, Financial Times, Pelosi to meet Taiwan leader as China steps up warning signals. Pelosi to meet Taiwan leader as China steps up warning signals. All right, gentlemen, I'd like for us to quickly continue our conversation that we began earlier when we were speaking, especially with regards to the issue of ASUU. We're talking about that the lecturers should have paid, had not paid enough sacrifice with regards to this issue. And Mikew was saying, how do private universities do it? They get funds to, do research and all of it. I want you to throw more light on that.
Yes, from within Nigeria and even outside Nigeria, there's so many organizations that have a lot of funds for education and for mentoring and for, and so on. It is left for the institutions to try to see how they can leverage source for some of these organizations and, attract some of these funds into the universities. If you go to some private universities, you see, lecture halls, you see so many research institute, blocks and faculties built by companies. How are they doing it? It's not just the company sitting down and saying, okay, I have this money and I want to throw it in any school. Can I do mini, money, mo, and pick one? That's not what's happening. There's an engagement. So if these funds are there, let them also engage, because the lecturers in public universities have exactly what it takes to attract any kind of funds.
Perhaps they might be thinking that if they do that, government might not, play its role.
There is nowhere in the world,
federal universities.
There is nowhere in the world that government alone can fund education. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world.
We've had that conversation over time, but they don't seem to see that.
Go to Harvard. Government doesn't fund all of that. You understand? You go to any other institutions across the world, there's nowhere that government alone can fund education, because the education is like the bottomless pit. But you will see the impact if you put in the right money. You will see the impact. But there's no amount of money that will be enough or adequate for education. Even the 15% budgetary allocation that is specified, if you put it in there,
never met up to the 15%.
Even if we meet it, it will not. One cannot say because I've met 15% as required, that's it. It can never be enough. So the point there is, the institutions should go extra mile. Source for these funds. There is so much from within Nigeria and outside Nigeria for different issues, whether it is in agriculture. There are, if you are going into science and coding and all of those STEM and STEAM, there are. If you're going into... There is so much, even in arts, there is so much funds for different things. How do we access the fund? That is what, in fact, universities should set up those kind of committees deliberately, intentionally, to see how they can begin to source and look for those funds wherever they are.
So from what you are saying now, if I get you right, they are not being deliberate.
They are not intentional about it. Yes, it is. We cannot rely on government alone, because
you cannot say that they are not aware of, this organization that give fundings to universities.
Go for it. You are aware. Go for it. Even if you don't know, there are some persons who know. Reach out and go for it. They have everything it takes to reach out to all of those organizations.
To be fair to some of the universities, if you visit some of the universities, you will see instances of corporate buying. Some buildings here, some faculty buildings here, and so on and so forth. But what we have is actually little compared to what we can do. And it is also a factor that we don't really pay for education here in Nigeria. I mean, the irony is that when we send our kids abroad, we are ready to pay through the nose. You pay school fees of up to $50,000 a year. They don't even pay $1,000 a year, for kids. But given that, it is said that Nigeria has so much resources. And the truth is that it is because we have not managed our resources that this is a problem. Right. It's a failure of government to actually build an economy that is good enough for education. And yet, we need education to build an economy.
Right.
And we're not ready to build the education that can build our economy. So we're in that secular rut that nothing is happening. The universities have the capacity to generate a lot of interest. Get individuals who have money to have scholarships here, scholarships there, corporations to buy in one way or the other. It is the same thing in other aspects of Nigerian life. Hospitals are there. There are no funding. There are no people who are saying, I want to buy this bed, and anybody who sleeps in this bed, I will take care of his illness. We don't have a social involvement or commitment to the building of education, as we are not committed to even building of a political society.
Unfortunately.